Sometimes I just be losing my mind. Sometimes I just be lying to be lying. Sometimes I wish I could quit my 9 to 5 and make music from 9 to 9 and have a hell of a time.
Welcome to Some Shit to Think About, episode number 1 with your host, Anthony Beastie Barron. I'm so glad to have you here. This podcast was created to shed some light on philosophy and help free people from the unnecessary suffering that I'm seeing a lot in today's day and age from people from all ages and backgrounds. So we're getting into it today, talking about just seeing the illusion. And if you don't know what illusion I'm referencing, you're probably in it. But there's nothing wrong with that. Illusion I'm referencing is something that's been kind of taught to everybody since birth. You know what I mean? It's something that everybody feels like they have to be a part of just because it's the norm. You know, it's the societal norm. The illusion I'm speaking on is the reason why people feel as if they can't, be themselves, follow their dreams, do what they want to do. They can't, like something different than what people may cast them as supposed to like. You know what I'm saying? It's the reason why boys think it's soft to cry, or they can't like pink, and just things like that, man. And I don't like the fact that everybody kind of follows it. It's like an unspoken rule. The more I've matured and got into the real world, I'm seeing people, like I said, are just suffering at their own peril. Like they're okay with the negative things going on, and they feel like it's nothing that they can do about it just because that they're so caught up in this illusion. And we're trying to break free from that. So I'm basically gonna just talk about what that is and how we can get out of that, because I feel like everyone is put on this earth for a reason, regardless of whatever your religious background may be. I feel like we all have, powers within us that enable us to, live as our authentic selves and just enjoy the time that we have and, really thrive in this life instead of just surviving. I feel like this illusion that I'm speaking on is societal illusion. Some people might call it the rat race. Some people might call it the matrix, whatever you may be. But I feel like it was really kind of just created just to keep people, in a small box, so to speak. So people feel like they have to, suffer in this life to get what they want. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was kind of made to keep people trapped, so to speak, and have them not realize what powers they actually have, because people seem to forget, like, as human beings, like, we have a whole lot of power, like our brains, like, it's a lot of power up there, man. The fact that we can just have higher thought, you know what I mean, and higher consciousness, and what I mean by that is just be able to step outside of ourselves and look down and be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing, you know what I mean, like why am I doing this? Like, we're definitely creatures of habit, and things definitely can get caught in that subconscious, and it's easily impressionable, and a lot of things that you might not want to be in there are in there from, whatever background you might have, parents or whatever might have, instilled some stuff in you. But we all have the power to, like I said, take a step back and kind of be like, I don't necessarily have to be doing this. And I mean, life's easier when you're doing things that you want to do, right? When you're living with a purpose, or living just enjoying the world around you and things around you. But I'll be real with you, though. I think a lot of people that are part of the illusion are comfortable with that. Like, they like it. You know what I mean? They like, having a secure 9 to 5, or just having, security in a sense that whatever they're doing, they know they probably won't get much pushback from, because it's normal, right? It's normal. It's what everyone's doing. It's what's gradually accepted from everyone, and that's just it's kind of weak, if you ask me. I mean, we all, as human beings, we want to achieve some type of fulfillment. We want to know that whatever work that we're putting in, whatever sacrifices that we're making, are going towards something. Going towards hopefully something that you find pleasurable, something that you enjoy, something that you value. So why not, be your authentic self and, kind of shake things up, do things a little bit differently, even if you got to take some ridicule from some other people. You know what I mean? Just, I don't I don't understand why that's such a big deal. Kind of just following your intuition and your authenticness. I feel like that's something that's kind of fading a lot in today's day and age. Is the sense of being authentic and being yourself, and especially in our culture, in Black culture. You know what I mean? You see, this is a monkey see, monkey do type of thing. You know, you see a rapper or athlete, you know, post something, talking about something that might not be the best, and, you know, everybody kind of, you know, goes and follows suits, and it's just kind of like, bro, like, do you even really like that stuff? You know what I mean? Like, do you even really actually rock with that? Like why are you really doing it? And it's just the lack of authenticity is stripping the world of its gifts. You know what I mean? Because when people are their most authentic selves, they're giving back their unique gifts. You know what I mean? Like I said, everybody has their own purpose, everybody has their own tasks, but everybody has their own unique skill set and their unique gifts. So when you're not being your authentic self, you're trying to be like someone else, you're trying to, you know, fit into whatever norms this illusion might have, you know, taught you over time, or society might have taught you over time, you're really hurting the world. Like, there's plenty of people that probably would find some type of inspiration or find some type of value from you being your most authentic self, but you not doing that is hurting that. And that's something, like I said, we need to fix, we need to correct. I was always taught to be the change that you want to see. So that's kind of what sparked me to get here to do this, and just make this podcast, talk about it, because I don't see people talking about this type of stuff. I mean, it is getting more popular to talk about, but not really in the culture, you know what I mean? And not really, like I said, like within like the Black communities and whatnot. But I will be real though, a lot of that comes with a lot of past traumas, right? You know, our people kind of gone through a lot historically, and we've had a lot of things literally like imprinted within us. So I can definitely understand, you know, why we have, I wouldn't say such a closed mind, but why we're easily following suit to disillusion or, you know, these society norms, because, you know, we want to feel like we're one with, you know, all the other, with white people. I'll be real with you, with white people, but it's not like, it's not, those are things we kind of have to accept, you know what I mean? And even kind of past that, like, I feel like a lot of Black people have traumas just within, you know, their own households, you know, like a lot of things, like for example, for me, like, this is not necessarily a trauma, but I wasn't allowed to wear pink as a kid, you know what I mean, just because I was a boy, you know, and that's just not boy stuff, you know what I mean? And if I did, or I remember one time I came home with a clear coat on my nails because my grandma on my mother's side worked in a nail salon and gave me a manicure, and all the men in my pop side of the family was just going at me, you know what I mean, calling me all types of names and whatnot, and it didn't send me into like a depression or anything, like, you know, I took it for what it was, but stuff like that, you know, it kind of, you hear things like that over a lifetime, and you're gonna be trained to think that certain things you might like, you can't like just because you're a man, or because you're Black, or because you're this, or because you're that. And we got to get over that, man. We really do, because it's just holding us back. And there's plenty of other things. That was kind of just the first example that came to my head, but there's plenty of other things that we kind of have to accept and realize that, like, yo, like, we can, like, I can be whoever I want to be, whoever I feel I am, whatever I choose to be, that'll bring me some type of fulfillment in this life, and something that'll allow me to create value to not only myself, but to the people around me and to the community, right? Because isn't that what, like, this all about? Like, definitely, you know, we should be enjoying life, because every day is a miracle. Like, the fact that everything is here, you know, with nature and all that stuff, like, the fact that it's in existence is something crazy, and we should definitely enjoy that. But we should also be here to progress things, and, like I said, share our gifts and share what's really going on. So I think we gotta accept those traumas, and we gotta just be cool with being ourselves, however that may look. You know, even if you might come from, you know, a family full of, you know, people that might, you know, love sports. If you know, grew up loving trees or, you know, grass or whatever, like you gotta be able to go all in on that, you know, and really tap in, you know, despite what people may call you, despite what people may say about you, think about you, all that type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, people that are showing the most hate, showing the most judgment, are people that are just secretly probably a little bit envious. You know, they probably wish that they could be as confident, you know, exploring different things that aren't normal, that aren't, you know, part of the crowd. Because I'll be real with you, like it's cool to, you know, live within the society, to live within society's norms, but there's really no cool in being just like, nothing cool about being just like everybody else. You know, there's no factor that makes you, you know, unique or different. You know what I mean? If you're dressing just like everybody I see on my phone and, you know, everybody I see on the TV, like what makes, you know, like what makes you different, makes you special. You know what I mean? So we got to just get more comfortable just being ourselves. But that kind of starts with figuring out who you are, you know what I mean? And figuring out, like, kind of like going through your past, talking to family members, seeing how you even came about, because a lot of things that make who you are come from how you got here, come from your family, come from, you know, wherever you guys are at and whatnot. And I feel like, you know, it takes a little bit of time to dig deep and, you know, reach out to people. I know families aren't always on one accord, but just to tap in and see how you got there or how you got here, see if there's any, you know, habits, traits that are kind of common amongst your family, and just be able to have that in your mind and know, like, okay, if I have an addictive personality trait in most men in my family, well, why not, you know, keep that in the back of my mind, so, you know, when I do get exposed to things like, you know, drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be, or anything can be addictive, you just know, and you can use that to your advantage. So instead of falling addicted to negative things like, you know, people might have in your family in the past, you can start forming addictions to positive things, you know what I mean? Like, you know, drinking water, eating fruits, or just, you know, whatever works for you and how you know, operate and whatnot. And then after you kind of figure out how you came about, I feel like you should definitely just tap into who you are, you know, and spend some time being comfortable being by yourself and being alone, and really just being alone with your thoughts, man. I feel like a lot of people are caught up into the illusion because they're trying to be like everybody else and trying to always be around everybody else. Not so many people can really just sit by themselves for 30 minutes to an hour, you know what I mean, and just be okay with being by themselves and not, you know what I'm saying, just be scrolling the whole time, or, you know, mindlessly watching something or listening to something. Like start, you know, meditating, you know, start just tapping inwards, because it's a lot of power in that, being calm and comfortable with being by yourself and just having the awareness of knowing what's going on up here, because you're only going to figure that out if you can take a step back from everything and you know, meditate and relax and take account for all the thoughts and all the things that are going through your head. And like I said, it's powerful, man. People, I don't know if you realized it, but people are attracted to calmness. You know, like, you see you out in the crowd, you out at a bar or whatnot, like, don't get me wrong, the person, you know, that's killing it on the dance floor is definitely going to get, you know, plenty of attention or whatnot, but the person that's comfortable with just being themselves, you know, you can tell, like, a cool person is cool with themselves, and it brings people along with them. They see that frequency, they feel that frequency, right? They feel that vibration, and they're attracted to it, and they want to, you know, be a part of it. And I'm not saying like you should want everybody to be attracted to you, but it's kind of a natural thing when you're all right with yourself, you know what I mean, when you're at one with who you are and you're cool with being your authentic self, however they may look. So I feel like after you know, figure out how you came about, you figure out like who you are and where you're at right now, and kind of like what's going on in your head, you start thinking about like what your purpose is. You know what I mean? Like, why were you put here? Because nobody asked for a seat at the table, right? Like, we all just got thrown at the table, and we all got dealt a hand in cards, and everybody's hand is different, everybody's seat at the table is different, but everybody's there. You know what I mean? It's the same table, it's the same game, and everybody gets a turn. So I feel like knowing what your purpose is kind of allows you to play the game to your strengths, and, you know, and to overlook, but to maneuver around your weaknesses. Because if you're not actively, you know, living within your purpose, you're kind of just gonna be drifting around. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be at the table just playing whatever hand looks the best, or just whatever hand you have to play when it comes your turn. But when you have a purpose and you're moving with a definiteness of purpose, it just changes the game. It gives life a little bit more meaning, right? Like, that's kind of why I feel like religion is so big, is because it gives a lot of people purpose. And there's nothing wrong with religion. I'm not discounting that at all. If you're a religious person, great, kudos to you. But I feel like it was definitely put here to give people purpose, because at some point in time, people were waking up like, I didn't choose to be here. You're like, all right, why am I here? What's the point of all this all? So believing in something, in a higher power or whatnot, and following a set of tasks, or things you might have to do while here to go to the afterlife, whatever it may be, gives people a reason to get up in the morning and be a good person, and to just do great things because they believe in something, right? It's the same thing. Like, you can do other things religiously that might not be tied to a religion, right? You can do things with purpose that kind of spice your life up, right? That kind of makes things a little bit more fun, because while you might not know exactly what it is, if you have an idea, you'll start, like I said, you'll start vibrating on that frequency, and you'll start catching people on that same frequency, and they might help you out. They might kind of show you what you might think your purpose is, and get you around those crowds and those environments that'll help you see that out. And it might not be what you thought it was, but the pursuit of it will be fun in itself, right? It will be rewarding just because you're making something of yourself, right? You're doing something with your life, right? I mean, it's just, I don't know, in my opinion, I guess, I'm just a 23-year-old living what I feel is just my best life. But I feel like life's just more fun that way. Because while nothing's certain, if it is certain, because you're using that intuition, right? When you're tapped in, like when you understand who you are, what your purpose is, and how you came about, you're guided by your intuition. You're guided by a divine being. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're all divine beings, because a divine being created everything going on, and as well as us in it. So when you're truly trusting that and living through that, you're gonna be having fun. You're gonna actually be doing things that scare you, but like in a good way. Instead of, like I said, instead of just being in the illusion and just doing what's required. Like, don't get me wrong, getting going to school, getting a real good job, and working, that it doesn't even, I can't even lie, it doesn't even sound appealing, especially now. Like, the whole point was to work until you're 65, until the Roth IRA hits and you can ride off in the sunset in retirement, right? But like, if you're living in America, there's no guarantees you even make it to 65, with how crazy things are here. And on top of, just like the food and, just, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff, there's no guarantees you even make it that far. So like, where's the fun in that? You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, if you have a great 9-to-5 and you love the company you work for and all that good stuff, like, go at it. Like, and please, continue to listen, because we're going to talk about more than just the illusion. But the illusion is a good foundation, I feel like, to start, because I'm going to reference it properly in every single episode, regardless of what we're talking about. And like I said, if you're in it and you're cool with being in it, go right ahead. I just want to make as many people aware of it as possible, because I feel like once you get that awareness of the illusion, every choice you kind of make after that is a decision, and you have to be cool with living with that decision. You have to be okay with, if you want to be a part of the crowd, then you get the treatment that the crowd gets, whether that's positive or negative. But to all my people that don't want to be a part of the illusion, that feel as they never were and they never really coincided with that, like, let's rock out, man. Let's make this world our oyster, because it really is, man. I feel like we weren't put on this world to suffer. We weren't put here to really struggle. Like, sacrifice is definitely going to be necessary. You're going to definitely have to sacrifice things to get, wherever you want to follow that life's task, life's purpose. But suffering, I feel like suffering is a choice. You know what I mean? Like, if I walked outside and got, my leg cut off, like, don't get me wrong, that's gonna hurt. It's gonna be painful, that leg's gone, there's nothing I can get back from it. But suffering would be, continually thinking about like why me, well, how did this happen? I can't do this, that, and the third, rather than just accepting it and just being like, obviously this needed to happen. Now I'm exposed to this whole other world, you know what I'm saying, of one-legged humans, and just the whole life of that, and you can embrace it, and you can end up being an inspiration for other people that might go through that. And you know what I mean, like, it all kind of coincides with each other when you just shift your perspective on life. And that's kind of where the philosophy kicks in, because all philosophy is the art of thinking, right? Like, any type of philosophy you ever heard of is just a way to think about something. So why not think about life as like as something that was made for you to be your most authentic self, to like everything that happens around you or everything that happens to you, it's all happening for you, because like this is your world, it's our world, right? Like, we're all put here for a reason. So why not look at life as something a bit more, lighter, as something a bit more fun, rather than looking at life like, life sucks, I'm gonna have to suffer as part of it, charges to the game. Let's just do this, that, and third, because that's what I have to do. And we can celebrate on the weekends, on those 2 days, and go back to the hum bum, like F that, like, what I'm saying, like, that shit's, nah, man, it's just not authentic, man. And I feel like at some point, if you're not living as your authentic self, life's gonna catch up to you, to where it's gonna force you to start thinking about living as your authentic self, and finding that purpose, no matter how much money you may make, no matter what you have, really, because all that, all that stuff is material, all that stuff it's not natural, it wasn't put here. So like, it's great, don't get me wrong, like, make as much money as you can, be as financially free as possible, and empower as many others to do the same thing as you can. Please, I'm not hating on that by no means of the sense, but just do it on your own dime, do it on your own accord, do it your way, and do it in a way that creates value for the world and for people that just look like you, like, especially, like I said, especially black people. Like, I don't see too many black people talking about philosophy, or reading books, and just being just a little bit more different, I feel like the leaders in our culture are athletes and entertainers, and that, while it's cool, don't get me wrong, I feel like we have a lot greater minds than just athletes and entertainers, and I feel like more prominent thinkers of the black community in particular need to get more recognition, and get more just followers, and I don't mean necessarily in the sense of a number on Instagram or YouTube, but followers in the sense of people that actually are following what they're doing, and using them as role models to kind of go about their life, and just be role models. I feel like I don't see enough of intellectual black people really getting the credit that they deserve, because we that's the illusion, I'm saying, that shit's corny, like, that shit's not cool. Like, who wants to hear people talking about philosophy or financial freedom, or what I'm saying, like, people don't want to see that, right? Like, that shit's not cool, and I'm kind of determined to make that type of stuff cool. So that's the point of some shit to think about. It's some shit for you to, when you turn this off, when you click off, when you swipe off, it's like, oh damn, like, he might have been on to something. Like, hold on, like you start, you might call your people, you call your mom, like are we in an illusion? Like, am I in an illusion? Like, do I know who I am? Do I know what my purpose is? Do I know like what I'm really doing here? Like, it was just made to get people to start thinking a little bit, man. And we're gonna talk about all types of stuff, from just having confidence to emotional intelligence, social intelligence, the power of relationships, and not just the romantic ones, but every relationship you have. We're just gonna talk about things, current events, what's going on in the world, just things that are worth thinking about. You probably won't find nothing too crazy here in terms of just what you might already see in the pop culture and on the podcast and whatnot. I probably won't be talking too much about, like dating and stuff, because I know that's a real big thing. And, I'll touch on it here and there, but I don't want it to be the focus on that, or even sports even. And I love, I love sports and, all that stuff, but I want to get it to people to just, change their perspectives more so than anything. Give them a different perspective. Give them a new form of philosophy that you can either adopt or not, but something that you should at least acknowledge. So I just want to thank you all for tapping in, for watching. Like I said, it's the very first episode. We're only going to get better, only going to get bigger from here on out. I'd like to throw a major shout out to the ZOS company for sponsoring this. It's the flag behind me. If you know, you know. If you don't, you'll know soon enough. And you can find me personally on all social medias at Beastie Baron, BEASTY BARRON. You can find me on, like I said, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. And make sure you like, subscribe, and tell a friend about this. Hopefully by the time this is out, we'll be on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you find your podcast. But like I said, we're going to keep rolling. Definitely follow me. I talk about a lot of thought-provoking things on a lot of my social medias, because that's just kind of what I'm all about. And man, thanks for tapping in.
All the money you make, it don't matter. All the bitches you with, they don't matter. All the chains on your neck, it don't matter. And that watch on your wrist, it don't matter.